All right, I'm here with Senator Mike Braun. Senator, thank you so much for being with us today.
Good to be on.
You wrote an op-ed this week essentially saying you don't think Republicans should trust the idea of making a deal on immigration with the White House. Where do you see all of this heading?
Well, I do that by all the actions I see from the Biden administration. Remember, he unraveled everything that was working, and Trump put that into place, and it had it at historic levels before Biden took over. So Biden, on the other hand, has used the administrative side, the executive office, the enforcement side to undo all of that. And he could put it all back. But I really believe he calculates this politically, that an open border like we've got it benefits him and his party in the long run. So why would we do a deal that is going to be helping him, and it's baselining illegal immigrant entries at a level that would be 5, 6, maybe up to 10 times what it was before, even at those levels of 5,000 a day? The numbers of people that came in with the parole system would have been 5,000 a year under Obama back before Biden. Now that's up to nearly 1 million. He's gamed the system every way. I think it's silly, especially when our apparent nominee and the House of Representatives won't go anywhere with this kind of bill to actually put it into law.
And obviously, as President Trump gains momentum in the primary, he continues to gain more and more influence in Congress. This week, though, Senator Romney said he thinks the border is an important issue for Trump. And he said the fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and Congress people that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is appalling, in his words. What's your response to that?
Well, I don't think those two have ever gotten along, so I would discount that comment accordingly. It is apparent, and if one thing about Trump, he is communicative, and we see that and hear it. Most senators have not been contacted by him. I think it's not hard, just on the merits of the case.
Have you talked to him about this issue?
No, I have not. And most senators have not. I think he's been communicating mostly with Speaker Johnson, because anybody knows that whatever we do here, if it's a Schumer bill orchestrated between Schumer and the White House, and they get enough Republicans to go along with it, that's the way a lot of bad legislation has gotten across the finish line here. Do you think it's really going to correct the underlying issue to get it back to a level that most Americans would think would be reasonable? And these are numbers that the Obama administration, back when that administration was grappling with it, would have been more in line with.
Speaking of President Trump, his win in New Hampshire this week does seem to have more Republicans backing him now in Congress and on the campaign trail, including some of your opponents in the race for governor who've now endorsed him or been more vocal about their support for the former president. How much of a factor will that be in 2024? And what's your response to those developments this week?
Well, I think it's now over half of Republican senators. And I think for some, they're going to just read the tea leaves. And President Trump, with all the challenges and complications that he is dealing with, has gotten stronger among mainstream Republicans. And I know many don't like his style or his approach, like the policies. So you've got to straddle that. All I can tell you is when you're looking at what's happened dramatically just through Iowa, what's going to happen in Nevada in a few days, what happened in New Hampshire, it's not going to be hard to extrapolate after South Carolina that it's a foregone conclusion. I would think, unless you want Biden, you want to borrow a couple $1 trillion a year now. We were not fiscally conservative as a Republican Party. We need to get better at that. But if you want more federal government, you want them running the show from here, that I think is going to be the comparison. You're never going to get the ideal on either side. Here, I think the case is going to be easy to make because it's deep into independence. And when the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of New York, other Democratic officials, now that they're putting up with the consequences of an open border, think it's pretty clear to see how this navigates through the Republican primary and I think into a successful outcome in November.
And I know you'll be on stage with your opponents in that race for governor. I imagine the discussion will continue there.
Sure.
All right, Senator Braun, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.